You're squashing it.
What?
If you don't want it, give it to me. There's no point in squashing something just because you don't want it. A fat Puerto Rican, your private duty nurse?
What fat Puerto Rican?
That. What other fat Puerto Rican is there out here?
Well, yes. She is my private duty nurse. Hardly think that she's fat.
Oh, is that so? Is that your evaluation, Mr. Whatever your name is?
Richard Landau.
Well, Mr. Richard Landau, let me tell you, they're all fat here. And the longer you stay here, the fatter they get. Hey, keep your candy. It's stale.
Miss Madurga is from Honduras, not Puerto Rico.
Honduras? Is that what she told you? Honduras?
Yes.
Honduras? Yes?
Yes.
And you believe her?
Yes, I believed her. Why shouldn't I?
But she's a liar. She used to be my private duty nurse till I was forced to let her go due to her overweight condition. But she told me she's from Guatemala. Guatemala. Fat chance, Guatemala. They're never from Puerto Rico. They're always from Honduras or Guatemala or Panama or Ecuador or Tierra del Fuego. Wherever they say they're from, it's never Puerto Rico. They don't want to admit it.
Why wouldn't they want to admit it?
It's not classy enough for them. And they're so used to giving us cock and bull stories here, they don't know what the truth is anymore. How do I know? I caught one of them walking around in a hall in a sari with a spot between her eyes and a diamond sticking out of her nose, telling all the patients she's from Ceylon or Borneo or someplace like that. The only flaw in her disguise, every time she wheeled me in for my cobalt treatment, I could see a half-finished banana sticking out of her cleavage. You ever see anyone from Ceylon walking around with a half-finished banana sticking out of their cleavage? That was my primary care physician giving me the report, result of the test by my secondary and tertiary care physicians. So I asked, so Doc, how long do I have? A little humor there at the end of the conversation. He says 10 minutes. I said, that doesn't give me much time for a second opinion. He says, you're serious? 10 minutes. And I hung up as the lights came up, and here we are. You know this is a 10-minute play? You've already missed a half a minute of it. Plus, the part you missed is the premise. And the protagonist's problem. The protagonist being me. Oh, boy. Look at that. Unbelievable. Half seats, too. No, the problem with theater, it's not the material, it's not the actors, it's not the staging or the lighting, it's the audience. I was an illustrator. Nature magazines and children's books. I did that for 45 years. I did dogs and cats and whales and monkeys and penguins, lots of penguins. Now, some artists, illustrators, they don't know beans about the animals they're drawing. I mean, they wouldn't know a kangaroo if they saw one on the street. But unless you understand the life and the feelings of the animals, how are you gonna capture it on paper?
That's a good question.
All right, so I said to myself, what makes a whale a whale? What makes a monkey, a donkey, a donkey? So I went to the library and I read the naturalists, Darwin, Goodall, Audubon, and I studied the anatomy and the psychology and the physiology of the animals. I went to the zoo Now, in those days, the animals were in cages. You could watch them from up close. And I went to the Met. And I saw animals in still lifes, animals dead, animals alive. And you know what happened?
You became inspired.
I'll tell you what happened. Nothing. Animals are boring. All they do is eat and sleep. I once watched two whales mating. It was boring.
So what'd you do?
Well, I gave up on the animals. I began to study people. I stand on the street and watch guys walk by and then see if I could figure out what animal they matched. You'd be surprised how many donkeys and giraffes are walking around on 2 feet. I went back to the Met, and this time I looked at portraits. Rembrandt's paintings of old men. Van Gogh's tortured drawings of himself. Modigliani's studies of his mistress. Even Picasso's terrifying women with 3 eyes and 2 noses. And I began to see what's missing in my drawings.
What was it?
Expression, anger, sadness, love.
Animals feel all that?
Who knows what animals feel? The thing was I had to make them look like they felt something. Oh! Look at this. Hey. A Spalding. God, I didn't even think they made them anymore. Bet they cost about $5 now. Well, when I was a kid, you could get one of these for a dime. But you had one of these in your pocket, you felt like a king. You could play box ball, stoke ball, a handball, hit the penny, monkey in the middle. But we're just going to play catch. I never liked living in a apartment on the west side. She wanted to move to the suburbs where Jonathan could have his own backyard and be safe. I said, no one is ever safe. Let him get a few bruises on the street. Let him see the world. And now, I go back to this big 3-bedroom apartment, pre-war, with a high ceilings and a fireplace. I got a beautiful marble mantle on that fireplace. I got pictures on it. Picture of me smiling with my arm around Hannah smiling with her arm around Jonathan. Jonathan smiling with his arm around the door. I talked to him. I said, Jonathan, I love you. Hannah, I miss you. He said, I'm sorry.